Oh, oh my, oh my, ladies and gentlemen, it has only been just a few short hours, and already we're seeing a massive transformation happening as the Democrat Party continues to collapse, fall, and implode on itself, and the infighting gets kicked up another notch. This is terrible news for lifelong Democrats and leftist liberals and progressives, but great news for everyone else like us. The headlines are filling my feed. Terminated. Top Democrats' illegal Epstein leak causes mass firings. Meanwhile, first Democrat resigns after Epstein files bombshell. But I'll tell you all the truth, just like I always have. And the truth is, these Democrats are only sorry because they got caught.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities but for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching obligations. And so with your permission, we're going to go forward and talk about the material in the class.
But they're done. We're done with them. And quite frankly, I never really with them like that in the first place. I've always been able to just kind of get the vibe and feel just like a sixth sense about these things. And I know some of y'all are the same way too. But this is absolutely great news, if you ask me, as we have been talking about this for a while now and having these chats and conversations and discussions about what all the evil demon rats have been doing. But more importantly, how it would all backfire on them. And I must say, what is happening now in spectacular fashion is actually far more amusing and entertaining, way more hilarious than I could have ever imagined. Watch as Hakeem Jeffries panics and see Democrat voters leave the party after realizing Trump was actually right. Oh, and Hakeem, he's gonna be out of a job soon too.
Someone needs to check on the Democrats, because what are they even doing? They just had to delete a tweet that they posted earlier today because they claimed that this email proves that Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017 when he was already president. Yeah, big problem with that is that all it takes is a simple Google search to prove exactly every single thing that Trump did on that day, and you can easily tell that he didn't spend it with Jeffrey Epstein. And you know it's bad when they had to delete the tweet, because this Twitter account, this official Democrats Twitter account, they just go full bore with all the lies. I mean, they do not have any problems leaving lies up. And you know it's bad when they had to delete it. This is just getting embarrassing at this point.
If Trump's name was on the Epstein list, I promise you, he wouldn't be president right now, because Kamala would have ran with that. The Democrats would have used that to literally drag that man. I don't think it's about the list. I think right now it's just about ruining his character. And the liberals are easy to believe anything. So they're believing it. They're reposting everything. I was just talking to one of my friends. She was like, he's guilty. Why? Because he was mentioned in the email. Mentioning someone in the email doesn't mean he was on the client's list.
You know what I'm tired of hearing? People talk about these goddamn Epstein files. First of all, the Democrats were in office the past 4 years, right? With Biden. If they really wanted to open up them Epstein files, they could have did it then. Not wait till Trump's in office. Oh my God, he's on Epstein. Like, get out of here. Y'all could have been did that. Like, now you want to talk about let's get it done? Get out of here.
This is crazy. Look at this video from the New York Times. This is nuts. This is absolutely wild.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Buckle up, because the Jeffrey Epstein files just detonated in Washington, and the first big name has already fallen. It all started a few days ago when House Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, including Marjorie, but they thought they had a clever trick hidden, tucked away and up their sleeve. They leaked 3 old emails from Epstein's estate, hoping to tie Donald Trump to Epstein's world. Spoiler alert, the emails showed nothing new and absolutely nothing criminal about Trump. But typical in the Democrats' world, and not very surprising to us here, that little stunt backfired spectacularly.
Connection to Epstein, as shown in those emails, according to Epstein, is unsavory, and it's not good.
Is that new information that he knew Jeffrey Epstein? Is it new information that Trump excommunicated him from Mar-a-Lago? Is it the only new information that we got this week off those emails was that somebody from the New York Times was advising Jeffrey Epstein, and we learned tonight from the Washington Post that Jeffrey Epstein was programming Democratic members of Congress. We didn't learn anything we didn't already know about Donald Trump, which was Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and now Democrats are aligning themselves with Jeffrey Epstein because Orange Man bad.
Did you read those 3 emails? They are really bad looking. They are optics are terrible.
Not.
Oh my God. Okay, they're putting Trump with one.
And we mustn't forget, we've also learned to what lengths Democrats will go to try and save face even after they have shit smeared all over it.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we just witnessed in that brief CNN clip with Jasmine Crockett is a textbook case of hypocrisy, pure and simple. But wait, there's more. And you honestly won't believe just how bad Jasmine Crockett and Hakeem Jeffries fumble, tripping over their own dicks with this ridiculous Epstein meltdown. And sure, this post here says, we have literal online prostitutes giving college lectures. Society is in hell. This is in response to a post by someone who goes by the name of Fearbuck and says, OF model Ari Kitsia was invited to the University of Washington to speak to a Psych 201 class of 1,200 students. And honestly, without getting into too many details and way off topic, I can see why a successful young woman, probably making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars online, would know a thing or two about psychology. But I digress. And we'll say that just being an OF model doesn't necessarily make you a prostitute. The same as being a stripper or an exotic dancer doesn't either. But be that as it may, if you want to talk about prostitutes and whores, well, now is the perfect time.
Sunlight, of course, is the best disinfectant. And we've maintained from the very beginning that the American people just deserve the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to the Epstein files.
Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch.
And do you know what happens when you continue to bully and hit conservatives, MAGA, folks like us on the right? Republicans hit back hard, and they just dropped tens of thousands of Epstein's actual emails and text messages like a nuclear strike on the Democratic Party's reputation. And guess whose names lit up everywhere? Not just the Brooklyn Barack, but Barack Obama's entire inner circle. The very first casualty, as you all saw earlier on in this video, is Larry Summers, Obama's former Treasury Secretary and the former president of Harvard. Summers has now announced he's stepping back from all public roles. Shocker. And Larry Summers opened his class today by addressing the shame that he feels because of what he did with Epstein. And I quote, some of you may have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein. He's already resigned from the Center of American Progress, the Yale Budget Lab, and even the board of OpenAI. And no wonder Elon Musk despised OpenAI. And Why are these Democrats stepping down now? Well, I'll tell you what. It's because the released messages show Summers texting Jeffrey Epstein like an old college buddy, even asking the convicted sex trafficker for dating advice. Yes, you heard that right. The man who once ran America's economy was getting romance tips from one of the world's worst child predators in history. And yes, I would agree. When even big players like Larry Summers have to start their lectures with a confession, you know the tide is turning. Accountability is catching up. No more hiding behind power or influence. The era of immunity is ending, and the unraveling has only just begun. But it doesn't stop there. They're all going down, and they know it.
Well, they want to give them another headline, which is that they've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing. What?
Ladies and gentlemen, please stick with me here and subscribe for more of these hard-hitting exposés. And I really do mean it. Thank you for your support because it really does help out a lot. And I'm currently working on another great video to deliver to you all as it relates to what's really going on with healthcare costs in this country right now. We've got shocking clips coming, including but not limited to a mom logging in to check her 2026 health insurance premium and watching it absolutely skyrocket with the flip of a tab. Thanks, Obama.
Leader Jeffries, though, even with those tax credits, premiums are exploding. And they'll be exploding under Obamacare. They'll be exploding in private health care. I mean, at what point are we going to sit down and figure out a systemic approach that actually is sustainable? Because we're not in it now. And again, even with those tax credits, the Obamacare premiums explode. Even worse, private health care premiums explode. Denials of coverage multiplying. A lot of those denials coming reportedly from AI. This system is failing the American people, and it's only going to get worse. What are we going to do?
There's no doubt about that, Joe. We have a broken healthcare system, and unfortunately, Republicans have decided to break it even further. And this relates to things that go beyond their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. In this year alone, what we've seen is Republicans enact the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. 14 million people are being denied their coverage as a result of the fact that they've passed this one big ugly bill. We see hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health centers closing all across the country. In this appropriations process that we're in right now, Republicans are trying to enact a $1.7 billion cut to the Centers for Disease Control. That will be the largest cut to the CDC in American history. And at the same time, they want to enact a historic cut to the National Institutes of Health. So this has been an all-out assault on the health care of the American people. And the system was already broken because of some of the dynamics that you've referenced. And so, yes, we've said we want to sit down and find a bipartisan path forward to actually address the Republican health care crisis and create a system that enables everyday Americans to be able to go see a doctor when they need one. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. That's the least that should be expected in the context of people confronting serious medical illnesses.
And there are more guilty pleas pouring in from that massive Minnesota fraud scandal under Tim Walz's watch. But meanwhile, Minnesotans are getting slapped with another $1 billion in property taxes, while states like Florida are talking about abolishing them completely, and leadership currently focusing on keeping our state great and making it better, not getting distracted with the media's games that they like to play.
Were added after FDR. President Trump faces those term limits. He is not going to be able to run for re-election in 2028. Are you thinking of maybe running?
I'm not thinking about anything because I think we have a president now who's not even been in for a year. We've got a lot that we've got to accomplish. I'm obviously working hard to keep points on the board in Florida, but Look at the election results 2 weeks ago for Republicans. That was not good. You know, we've got to do a good job as Republicans, and I think that should be the number one priority. And the way you do well in the midterm elections is to produce positive results. And so I would focus on that. This jockeying and all that, I don't think is productive for us. Get things done for people. You know, we showed in Florida, when I came in, we were a purple state. You know, now we're considered a red state because we produce results and people follow it.
And that's what I like to focus on. Producing positive results. And I published a video on just that yesterday over on Patreon if you want to go check it out. Because it's so simple to see, and I hear it all the time, about how people are fed up, wallets are hurting, and healthcare is ground zero for a lot of that pain, which is exactly why I refuse to let you guys get crushed by this broken system any longer. You've seen the numbers. Medicare Part B premiums are jumping almost 10% next year, up to almost $203 a month for most folks, and way higher if your income is up there too. That's real money disappearing from your fixed income, and that's before we even talk about the gaps, the surprise bills, the prescriptions that still cost an arm and a leg. But here's the good news, and I mean it, really good news. You do not have to navigate this nightmare alone, and you definitely don't have to overpay. My friends at Chapter are legitimately some of the best in the business at helping everyday Americans, folks like you, my subscribers, in making sure their Medicare is working for them instead of against them. They are 100% unbiased, zero pressure, and right now, during this short annual enrollment period, they're offering every single one of you a totally free Medicare review. And I know so many of you that have already called and have been blessed. Some of you have even told me how much you've saved and the better coverage that you now have. Thousands back in your pockets. And that honestly just makes me so happy. So glad to know that you're all being taken care of. Just call the number that you see right here on your screen, 270-467-2426. Takes 5 minutes on the phone. Less time than you'd think, and they'll look at your situation, compare every plan available where you live, and show you exactly how to lower your costs, fill dangerous coverage gaps, and make sure you're not leaving hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on the table next year. And I can't even tell you how many of you write in and say, man, I really wish I would have called Chapter sooner. But don't be that person with regret in January when the new premiums hit. AP ends December 7th. Time is flying, and you know it just as well as I do. Pick up the phone right now. Call Chapter at 270-467-2426 and tell them I sent you. It's fast, it's free, and it could be one of the smartest moves you make all year. Or click the link in the description to connect with them online. Let this crazy 2026 premium spike be your wake-up call, and not your bill and nightmarish burden that ends up haunting you all year. And don't just take my word for it. Jennifer Broadwater just left this comment and told me, Chapter is great. Call them before you call the others. They look out for you. And you know what? She's right.
On a morning of a hearing where the House was questioning Michael Cohen, Plaskett was communicating with Jeffrey Epstein. To be clear, this is years and years after he was convicted in 2008 of soliciting a minor. Plaskett was texting with Epstein that morning, the morning of the hearing that was aired on C-SPAN. She texted with Epstein, he'll talk about his grades. Epstein responded, what privilege stands behind the non-release of college transcripts? He then says, great outfit. Wow. You look great. Wow. All caps. Plaskett replied, wow. Thanks. It goes on. At 10:41 a.m., Epstein, ever the weirdo, texts her, are you chewing? Plaskett responds, not anymore. Chewing interiors of my mouth. Bad habit from middle school. Then Epstein asks when Plaskett's turn for questioning Cohen will come up. And she replies, hours, go to other meetings. But then we get to the meeting. Then we get to her turn. Then we get to the questioning of Cohen. And Epstein tells her, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of secrets. Plaskett doesn't know who Rona is. You don't know who Rona is. And Rona's in all caps. So Plaskett responds at 2:25 p.m., Rona? Then she says, quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? Then finally Epstein responds, That's his assistant. Now listen, this is all of how it played out on text exchange. Now I want to show you the video from a C-SPAN airing. These are time-stamped. So is the C-SPAN time-stamping of that congressional hearing. And you'll see Plaskett look down at her phone as these texts come in and change her questioning, including not knowing the last name of Rona, who she ends up asking about to Cohen.
So he texted her, "Are you chewing?"
In Chicago.
And she said, "Not anymore." So he's watching this live and sending her text messages.
And so the files also revealed that Stacey Plaskett, the Democratic delegate from the Virgin Islands, was texting Epstein in real time while she sat in a 2019 congressional hearing, grilling Michael Cohen about Trump. Epstein was literally feeding her questions to ask on the record. And mind you, this was after Epstein was already a convicted sex offender. Then Plaskett happily accepted $30,000 from him for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, plus the maximum personal donations in both 2016 and 2018. And do you know who else accepted money? Campaign funds, massive donations from the known convicted sex offender?
Ask you about you, because the White House has been highlighting an email that I'm sure you've seen today that Jeffrey Epstein got in 2013. They say it shows you were soliciting money and dinner from an Epstein. The email was not sent from you. It was sent from a political consulting firm called Dynamic SRG that says, "We are thrilled to announce we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved." What's your response? Do you recall that email being sent to Jeffrey Epstein from that team?
Yeah, of course, I have no recollection of the email. I've never had a conversation with him, never met him, know nothing about him other than the extreme things that he's been convicted of doing. And that's why, I'm just strongly supportive of the effort, backing the survivors to make sure that everything can come out, whatever is in those Department of Justice files.
So you never got a donation from Jeffrey Epstein or anything like that?
Certainly.
Old Brooklyn Barack. But it's funny how every politician suddenly remembers nothing the moment Epstein's name comes up. Never met him, know nothing about him is the default script now, even when the paper trail says otherwise. The Dems are in cleanup mode. They're not interested in clarity. Jasmine Crockett is seen here yelling about various Republicans taking money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. The only problem is that none of the donors pictured here are the Jeffrey Epstein. Are any of the propaganda press hacks that are suddenly posting about this issue nonstop going to question their media darling about this one?
Also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
And do you know what's even more ridiculous than this terrible AOC version Disney remake? How about we all take a look into Jasmine Crockett's FCC filings and financial expenditures? Cut and dry. And it's exactly what the Democrats like her like to do. Jasmine Crockett, the so-called representative from Texas, only representing terrible hairstyles and poor outfit decisions.
Okay, a lot of the MAGA women receive gender-affirming care, such as lip fillers, breast augmentation, etc. Why do you think they are so against gender-affirming care for trans people?
You know you want to say it.
Okay, so I have this thing where, like, a MAGA woman when you see one.
1000%.
They all have a look,
big
right?
back,
but they lips be up to anyway. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, they don't even know, because when that was brought up on the House floor, because there was a discussion about this on the House floor. They were like, "How dare you say we use?" And it's like, no, that's exactly what y'all do. Y'all just didn't realize that that's what it is. But okay. Yeah.
Look, folks, it has shown us once again why the far left Democratic socialists are a disgrace to this country. Her actions are not just misguided. They are driven by an insatiable hate for President Trump. fueled by a desperate need to cling to her dwindling base of TDS-infected sufferers. And let me tell you, folks, the optics are absolutely terrible. First off, Jasmine Crockett sits there on national television questioning why Republicans would redact the name of someone deceased in those Epstein emails. She's playing the victim card here, as she likes to do, acting like she doesn't know who's behind the redaction. But guess what? CNN itself, her own home base, it would seem, calls her out. And Caitlin Collins, that's not Caitlin Collins. And I don't think that's Caitlin Collins. I'm not sure who that is, but normally that's who I would see right there on the screen, corrects her and says it wasn't Republicans who redacted the name. It was the Democrats. And there it is, folks. Boom, right in Jasmine Crockett's face. She lied, plain and simple, and got caught red-handed on the panel there on the set live on CNN. The look on her face was pure embarrassment. Everyone saw it. Producers wanted to run and cut the feed, but there's nothing they could do at that point besides let her continuously dig her hole deeper and shove her foot further into her own mouth. And it was a damning moment because it proves she's either completely out of touch and or willingly spreading falsehoods and misinformation and lies to try and score political points. I want to say it's Dana Bash, but I know it's not Dana Bash. So I'm not sure who that one is. A lesser known name, Pamela Brown, I believe. Maybe that's who it is, Pamela Brown. But either way, but wait, it gets worse. Jasmine Crockett has the audacity to claim Virginia, who died by suicide, which I gotta say is an honest slap in the face to any and all living and breathing survivors who've been fighting for justice. And this isn't just a mistake. It's a disgusting misrepresentation that shows how little Crockett cares about the truth or the people that she's supposed to represent. The same people you would think that if she's supposed to represent, she would spend more time in her district, but instead she's out spending the folks' money in lavish hotels all around the country.
The hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston
Not been in
or
Amarillo.
Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants to.
However, then in the very next breath, she admits that Virginia wrote a book and told her story. So, yeah, which one is it, Jasmine? You don't know who the victim is, or you do. I'm confused now. I mean, the flip-flopping is the epitome of hypocrisy from the left, and it's clear she's just throwing darts in the dark, hoping something sticks to smear President Trump. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the real agenda here. Jasmine Crockett isn't interested in justice for Epstein victims. No, she's not interested in the truth. Never has been. She's interested in one thing and one thing only: bashing Trump to appeal to her shrinking pool of supporters who can't see past their irrational hatred. And this is personal gain. This is all for personal gain at the polls, ladies and gentlemen. She's betting that by keeping the Epstein controversy alive and twisting it into an anti-Trump narrative, she can energize her base and maybe, just maybe, save her political career. But here's the thing. Her base is dwindling. People are waking up. They see through this garbage. And the Trump administration, MAGA, has all known all along about these Epstein files, but has also strategically played their hand, much like the government shutdown and strategically playing their hand with SNAP food stamp benefits, for which they knew were being stolen, fraudulently abused.
And 20 plus others did not, and we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering. 500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name. 5,000 dead people. 80% of the able-bodied Americans, meaning they can work, they don't have small children at home, they're not taking care of an elderly parent, they can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer. So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most corrupt, dysfunctional programs in American history, that we are working now. Very big announcements coming next week on this. We are cracking down. We now have a plan to fix it, and we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
So this has been going on for many years. I mean, I think I covered this on the radio.
And now it is clear as the day is long, folks. The optics here are a disaster for the Dems, a disaster for Jasmine Crockett. Here she is, a Democrat, getting fact-checked by CNN of all places. That's right, folks. The network that's supposed to be her ally is proving her wrong again. And it's a moment of sheer humiliation, and it's a wake-up call for every conservative and MAGA supporter out there that this isn't about policy or governance. It's about hate, and it always has been with the left. It's about a far-left ideologue who's willing to lie, distort, and misrepresent to keep her and their narrative alive. And it's a damn shame that she's allowed any airtime at all to peddle these nonsensical lies and spread her hate for America. Jasmine Crockett is the poster child for everything wrong with the Democrat Party today. She's a far-left extremist, a democratic socialist who prioritizes ideology over facts, conspiracy theories over truth, and she's not here to serve her constituents. She's here to rack up and rake in as much money as she possibly can. Just look at her YouTube channel. Why is she posting so many videos with so many misleading clickbait titles and thumbnails? Her revenue has to be off the charts, okay? Further adding to her growing net worth and multi-million-dollar empire, for which she probably, as a lawyer, should already be aware, but be very concerned about the potential $500,000 penalty per violation. Yes, folks, there's that. But she is here to serve her own political ambitions. And the worst part about it all, well, is she's doing it at the expense of real victims, real survivors, and real Americans who deserve better. This is why we fight, folks. This is why we create these videos and point out these hypocrisies and try our best to tell and share and spread the truth for it to go viral. And this is why we stand with America, with President Trump, with MAGA, with us all here, the party of common sense, because we know the truth and we're not afraid to call out the hypocrisy when we see it. Not even if it's like this accidental experience on CNN where they're like, hey, we actually have to deliver some real news here, unless they are trying to throw Jasmine Crockett under the bus, which I wouldn't be surprised about that because Democrats are known for stabbing each other in the back. So let me make this abundantly clear, folks. Jasmine Crockett is an absolute disgrace. Her actions are a disgrace. Her hair and her clothes, well, we'll just leave it at that. The fact of the matter is that she's still platformed. Somehow, some way, she's still given a microphone, and it is a disgrace to our nation. It's time we demand better, folks. It's time we demand leaders who prioritize truth, justice, and the American people over their own petty vendettas. America deserves better than Jasmine Crockett. Wouldn't you agree? And yes, folks, that was a clip from my other channel over there on Better America. If you want to go check it out, those videos are great too. But hear me out, folks, as I'm about to say something extremely controversial. However, I think Jasmine Crockett's right. And God don't like ugly. So, yeah, there's that. But just think about this for a moment. Just 1 second, if you would, please. I honestly thought about this last night when I was working on pulling all my research together for you. And it seemed to be obvious. The Democrats are throwing their own under the bus. They're stabbing each other in the back. All the infighting, all the leaks, all the emails exposing exactly what Biden and Kamala was hiding, what they were sitting on for 4 years. This is to eliminate others besides just Chuck Schumer, who they're using AOC and Zohran Mamdani to take care of that. But they want Hakeem Jeffries gone now, too.
Hakeem's people asked Epstein to come to dinner and meet him after he was convicted for fooling around with a 14-year-old.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, this is why the Democrats they're going to regret, I think, ever playing around with this, and they're going to regret embracing transparency, though I'm glad they did. They thought, I think, that the files would never become public. They thought this was all a game. Well, guess what? They're going to get their wish. They are going to become public. The president's going to sign the bill. The president's been right all along on this. He said months ago, make public everything you can that's not classified. Now Congress is finally going to do it. And I think we're going to learn a lot, Jesse. A lot of people suddenly are going to get real reticent to talk about Epstein, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries, whether it's Larry Summers, that Harvard president you mentioned a second ago who worked for Barack Obama. We're going to find out a lot about a lot of folks because you know what else is in this bill that just passed tonight? It's got to be a searchable database so any American can go in and read the files for themselves. That's how it should be. I'm looking forward to seeing what's there.
I'm looking forward to seeing Hakeem Jeffries resign, kicked out of Congress. 4D chess. Like I've said before, and now we see Trump's strategy was genius. 2020 to 2024, Democrats say the Epstein files can't be released because innocent victims could be exposed. 2025, Trump says, well, the Epstein files are a hoax. Democrats, 2025, well, release the Epstein files at all cost. And these idiotic Dems took the bait. They fall for it every time, hook, line, and sinker.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will
He
turn
says,
it over.
Cohen brought up Ronna, keeper of secrets. This is Jeffrey Epstein. And she says, Ronna, basically asking who is that? She doesn't know who Ronna is.
To correct the record, yes or no? Yes.
And she says, quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym to what Ronna, R-O-N-A? That's an individual. She's the keeper of secrets for Trump. That's his assistant, Jeffrey Epstein says.
Yes.
And then now she's going to ask Michael Cohen.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Ronna, who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
There other people that we should be meeting with?
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh. You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Ronna, what is Ms. Ronna's position?
Ronna Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his. And
Good work from Jeffrey Epstein.
And then there's Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn billionaire and one of the biggest Democratic mega donors in the country. The documents show that he visited Epstein's private island in 2014 and was scheduled to spend the night at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse and even invited Epstein to an elite Silicon Valley dinner with other tech billionaires years after Epstein's conviction. Hoffman also helped funnel over $500,000 of Epstein's money to MIT.
But if this rabbit hole goes deeper, what we have is false allegations against Donald Trump, a criminal case that ultimately was brought forward for the first time in history with no unanimously decided upon crime Trump was attempting to commit. That is, it's complicated. And I have since corrected the record, though I'd call myself half wrong. The story is, as it pertains to the falsification of business records, for which this question is about in this testimony, the jury did not unanimously decide that Trump was actually trying to commit any particular crime, just that maybe there was some crime somewhere. It's never happened before that they've done this. And the only reason they did was because the charges against Trump, misdemeanor at best. Jeffrey Epstein, according to the Washington Post, was colluding with the Democrat to get this testimony, which ultimately led to a fake conviction. Sounds to me, ladies and gentlemen, we have a strong probability, should this rabbit hole go deep.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's just what we will do. Exactly that. And stick with me here as we follow this rabbit hole a whole lot deeper, because what lies at the bottom isn't just troubling, it's a blatant assault on justice itself. We're talking about false allegations weaponized against Donald Trump in a criminal case that, for the first time in American history, elevated misdemeanor charges to felonies without the jury ever unanimously agreeing on the actual underlying crime Trump was supposedly trying to commit. It's a tangled web, but here's the unvarnished truth on the core falsification of business records charge. The jury didn't have to and didn't unanimously pinpoint any specific predicate offense. They just had to agree that some shady crime lurked in the background, whether it was a violation of federal election laws, another round of falsified records, or a tax dodge. 4 jurors could pick one theory, another 4, another, and then the rest a third. No consensus required on the what, only the vague that. And this isn't how due process works. It's a legal sleight of hand, unprecedented and unchallenged, all to prop up charges that wouldn't have stuck otherwise. And why? Because the underlying offenses were misdemeanors at best, petty, time-barred, and desperate. But wait, because it gets darker. As we now know, and thanks to newly surfaced documents that reveal Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted predator himself, was actively colluding with a Democratic congresswoman during Michael Cohen's 2019 House testimony, the very hearing that fueled the narrative behind this sham prosecution. While Cohen spilled dirt on Trump, Epstein was texting in real time, feeding her leads on questions to ask, spotlighting Trump insiders like Ron Graff as keeper of the secrets and coaching her on how to probe deeper into alleged henchmen at the Trump organization. Good work, he even texted her right after she wrapped up. This wasn't coincidence, it was coordination, straight from the estate's files, as reported by the Washington Post. Epstein, with his web of influence pulling strings to amplify anti-Trump testimony that snowballed into a so-called conviction. And ladies and gentlemen, we are connecting the dots. This isn't justice, it's a rigged game, a hoax conviction engineered by political operatives and their shadowy allies. And if we dig even deeper into this rabbit hole, the probability isn't just strong, it's overwhelmingly that we've witnessed election interference masquerading as the rule of law. And mark my words, the truth will unravel it all.
Folks, they still can't get over their old buddy Jeff. Swalwell trusts the Epstein people more than Pam Bondi.
By nature of who is being forthcoming and who is not, I believe the Epstein estate over the DOJ right now.
What does that mean? I guess he still has trust issues after Fang Fang. And this just in.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
The LA Times thinks Trump might destroy the Epstein files. How do you destroy evidence of a crime you didn't commit? Doesn't make any sense. Even CNN's fact-checking Democrats.
The president has not been accused of any crimes or wrongdoing as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein or these files, even with these emails being released. That's one thing that we need to make clear. But one thing about...
It's not been charged yet. Yes.
Yeah, there's no accusations, though, of any wrongdoing.
Trump's tired of hearing the Democrats squeal about a dead pedophile.
You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's nothing incriminating in the file, sir, why are you using as a
Trump's the most transparent president in history, releasing MLK, JFK, UFO, and Epstein files. But the press is never satisfied.
Why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
No, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. You could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC, they're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you.
ABC doesn't care about the victims. They spiked the Epstein story to get in good with the royals years ago, remember? Now they're trying to resurrect it to drive a wedge between Trump and Republicans. Sorry, doesn't work that way. Just like the shutdown, this stunt's going to hurt them a lot more than it hurts him.
What a magnificent takedown that was. And so, folks, we're going to wrap this one up, and trust me, you're going to be very pleased with what comes next. Pay close attention because this may very well be the most important part of my video. And so you see, President Trump, he saw all of this and immediately ordered Attorney General Pam Bondi to open investigations into Hoffman, Summers, and other prominent Democratic donors with Epstein ties. But I just find it all so funny and entertaining now how these Democrats are trying to play this game. Double standards are the bread and butter of the left. And when it's their side, they just so happen to turn a blind eye.
About what the Obama Justice Department ordered federal lawyers to do and not to do concerning the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge tells us in sworn testimony on Capitol Hill, one of the insiders told lawmakers what she was told.
During closed-door testimony last summer, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page said the Obama administration's Justice Department advised the FBI not to pursue the gross negligence statute for Hillary Clinton in the mishandling of classified information. Former U.S. Attorney and House Republican John Radcliffe led the line of questioning about the statute, known as 18 U.S.C. 793. Radcliffe, you're making it sound like it was the department that told you you're not going to charge gross negligence because we're the prosecutors. Page interrupted. That is correct.
But accountability shouldn't depend on political affiliation.
If it was a Republican that was caught texting Jeffrey Epstein himself during a congressional hearing, you liberals would be losing your godforsaken minds. This woman was caught red-handed texting Jeffrey Epstein, and where is y'all's outrage about it? Because right now I hear crickets. I don't hear shit coming from y'all.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing, and at one point he tells her, good job.
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability. Thanks.
And this is exactly what I'm getting so beyond fed up with. The fact that y'all never call out the weird bullshit behavior within your own party. Y'all love to pick and choose what to be outraged about because it depends on who it pertains to. Because let's be honest, y'all really don't give a about those victims. All y'all care about is seeing Trump's name on that list. Y'all gotta remember something. Actions speak louder than words. And right now, the actions are speaking very loud. Like I said, this right here just proves that y'all truly do not actually care about any victim. You never have. So stop the damn bullshit.
And like I said, stay locked in. Click that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming up next, because what is coming down the pipe is more Democrat bloodshed from infighting and backstabbing. And so there's just one name left to discuss here on this video, and that is none other than Clinton. And do you all remember Bill Clinton?
Page's testimony appears to conflict with then FBI Director James Comey's recommendation in July 2016 against criminal charges for Clinton.
What I can assure the American people is that this investigation was done honestly, competently, and independently. No outside influence of any kind was brought to bear.
The Republican-led House Oversight and Judiciary Committee investigation ended in January. With Democrats now in control, the committee's new ranking Republican made the Page transcript public.
The transcript releases show an inherent two-tier system, one in which Hillary Clinton gets the treatment that she got, where there was actually at first concern that they were going to charge her, and then with Loretta Lynch in charge, before she recused herself, made it very clear that that was not going to happen.
The tip-off came from a chart drawn up by federal investigators assigned to the Clinton case known as mid-year exam. Fox News has confirmed that the chart listed possible federal statutes for prosecution. Next to gross negligence was a notation, quote, DOJ not willing to charge this. Only known cases are military. Cases when accused lost the information. In response to the Page revelations, the president tweeted the transcripts, quote, make the Obama Justice Department look exactly like it was, a broken and corrupt machine. The Page transcript also confirms Fox's earlier reporting. The Page testified Russia collusion was still unproven when special counsel Robert Mueller was appointed. Brett?
Captain, thank you.
The flight logs show he flew on Epstein's private jet 26 times. Clinton still insists he never went to the island, but victim statements and emails keep raising serious questions. And I believe this with every fiber of my being, that the Democrats hate Trump so much that they're willing to give up Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Hakeem Jeffries, hoping that something in the Epstein files implicates Trump. But what if, and hear me out, folks, but what if the plan this whole time was to convince the Democrats to release the files just to off their own?
Want the Clintons to testify? They've not lifted a finger to help get the Clintons in. They were quick to demand Acosta testify and Bill Barr testify. They're always Trump, 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 but they don't say a word about Democrats. But I'll tell you this, they hate Trump so much, they would be willing to give up Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Hakeem Jeffries if it meant having a scalp from Donald Trump. So, look, the Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome. They're just hoping and praying that there's something in these documents somewhere. They don't know where, but somewhere that would implicate Trump. And what's sad about that is the Republicans on the Oversight Committee, and I think the Republicans in the House of Representatives, we want transparency. We're not hiding anything. We want every name released. We want every document made public. But at the end of the day, our goal is to get justice for the victims of Epstein and Maxwell and to figure out who in the government's responsible for not apprehending Epstein and Maxwell sooner. But the Democrats' objective is onefold. They want to try to get Donald Trump. They don't know how. They don't know in what way. They just hope and pray that there's Hail Mary is caught in the end zone at the last second and there's something in there pertaining to Donald Trump. And that's sad. And I hope the American people are seeing the hypocrisy of the Democrats throughout this whole Epstein thing. Because remember, they had 4 years under Joe Biden. They could have released the document any given day. And they never cared about that until there was some Twitter chatter that maybe Donald Trump was on the Epstein list.
This is the art of war. And so for years, Democrats screamed for the Epstein files to be released until they realized their own people were all over them. 3 federal judges appointed by Obama and Bill Clinton had blocked earlier attempts to unseal the full grand jury materials. But when Republicans tried to force a vote last week, Democrats blocked it on the floor.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett in Washington, D.C. today, of course, trying to open up the government, but I tried to make them release the Epstein files, and I was blocked by the Democrats. This is all gamesmanship, folks. It's not about releasing the files. If they had something on Trump, they would have released it. Biden had it for 4 years, and they hate Trump more than anything in the world. And so now they blocked it, and so they can piecemeal the truth and the half-truths, both sides, of what really went down with Epstein. And it's kind of disgusting, really. But, well, I tried. That's all I can tell you.
This upcoming bill to release the Epstein files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm Southern Baptist. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it, and you're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out, and the Democrats oppose me on it. It's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know if Trump was in that thing, Biden, the rest, and Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What you got?
I was going to ask about health.
Why go to all this trouble now?
Yeah, it's such a good question because, this is a symbolic vote at the end of the day.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now, here they've had it for 4 years, and they, obviously, if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. They blocked it. So, This is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
The optics were terrible, but the pressure became too much. And so yesterday, the House overwhelmingly passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act 427-1. The Senate passed it unanimously the same day. The bill is now on President Trump's desk, and he's already promised to sign it. Within 30 days, the Justice Department has to release every unclassified document, every email, every flight log with only the victims' names redacted. This is the moment a lot of us have been waiting for since Epstein's very suspicious death in 2019. The American people are finally going to see the full extent of how deeply embedded this monster was with the most powerful people in politics, finance, and tech. Larry Summers is just the first to fall, but trust me, a lot more names are coming. The light is about to shine on everything, and no amount of money, connections, or political power is going to stop it this time. Hopefully. I'll keep you updated the second those files drop. Subscribe so you don't miss a single update, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, be safe, and God bless.